What if the endless voice in your head is the very thing holding you back? That constant chatter, the self-talk you can't escape. What happens if you just stop? In this video, we're diving into a truth most people never realize. When you silence your inner dialogue, everything changes. By the end, you'll see why letting go of that voice could be the most freeing thing you'll ever do. Stay with me. This could change your life. 1. The inner voice. What's really going on? The inner voice. It's something we all carry with us, a constant background noise narrating our lives. Whether it's commenting on what you're doing, rehashing past conversations, or worrying about the future, this voice feels like an inseparable part of who we are. But what if I told you it's not? What if the chatter isn't a reflection of your true self, but rather a function of your mind trying to make sense of the world? This inner dialogue is like an overactive storyteller, spinning tales and creating narratives. Often, it's a jumble of borrowed beliefs, fears and assumptions collected from childhood, society, and our own insecurities. And the fascinating part? It rarely tells the truth. Instead, it works on autopilot, repeating patterns and reinforcing the same ideas over and over. But why is this voice so loud? And why does it have so much control? The answer lies in how we've evolved. As humans, our ability to think and analyze is one of our greatest survival tools. However, in today's world, where immediate threats are rare, this same ability can become a trap. The inner voice, meant to protect us, ends up holding us hostage in cycles of doubt, fear, and overthinking. Yet the most crucial question remains: who is listening to this voice? If you are not your thoughts, then who are you? The very act of observing this inner chatter reveals a deeper truth. You are the awareness behind it all, and recognizing this is the first step toward freedom. 2. The power of silence. Why quieting the mind is transformative. Silence is one of the most underestimated forces in the world. Not just the external silence of a quiet room, but the profound internal silence that arises when the mind's chatter fades away. When you pause and let the noise settle, you don't just hear silence, you experience a vast, spacious awareness. Think about how often your thoughts drag you away from the present moment. While you're eating, you're planning your next meeting. While walking, you're replaying an argument from last week. The mind is a time machine constantly pulling you out of the now. But when the chatter stops, you're no longer a prisoner of time. You're here, fully alive, in the present. This silence isn't empty. It's full of clarity and depth. It's where you find the answers that no amount of thinking could uncover. When your inner voice quiets, your perspective widens. You notice the subtleties of life, the warmth of sunlight on your skin, the sound of leaves rustling, or the simple joy of breathing. These moments might seem small, but they hold the key to true contentment. Moreover, silence reconnects you with yourself. It allows you to see beyond the roles and identities you've built. It's not about suppressing your thoughts, but stepping back to see them for what they are, passing clouds in the sky of your awareness. 3. The problem with over-identification. Most of us live our lives completely identified with our thoughts. If your mind says, "You're not good enough," you believe it. If it tells you, "You'll fail," you take it as fact. This over-identification with the inner voice is like wearing a pair of glasses that distort everything you see. And the worst part? You don't even realize you're wearing them. This identification creates a cycle. You think a thought, you believe it, and then you act in ways that reinforce it. For example, if your mind constantly tells you that you're not confident, you'll hesitate to speak up. Your actions then confirm the belief and the cycle continues. But what if you stopped believing these thoughts? What if you saw them as just noise rather than the truth? The moment you stop identifying with your thoughts, you reclaim your power. You realize that these stories are not who you are. They are just mental habits, patterns that can be observed and released. This shift is liberating because it allows you to act from a place of freedom rather than fear. By letting go of over-identification, you also open yourself to new possibilities. Without the constant commentary of "I can't" or "I shouldn't," you start to see life as it is, full of opportunities and potential. 4. The science behind mental silence. While the concept of inner silence might sound abstract, it's backed by solid science. Neuroscientists have identified something called the default mode network, DMN, in the brain. This network is responsible for mind-wandering and self-referential thinking, the technical term for the voice in your head. When the DMN is overactive, it can lead to rumination, anxiety, and even depression. But here's the good news. Practices like meditation, mindfulness, and deep breathing can quiet this network. Studies have shown that when the DMN quiets down, people experience greater happiness, reduced stress, and improved focus. For example, a simple breathing exercise can lower cortisol levels, the hormone responsible for stress, within minutes. Similarly, regular meditation has been shown to rewire the brain, increasing areas associated with compassion and creativity, while shrinking those linked to fear and negativity. What's fascinating is that this state of mental silence doesn't just make you feel good, it opens the door to insights and breakthroughs. When the noise stops, the mind becomes a clear, open space where creativity and intuition can flourish. 5. How to stop talking to yourself. Practical steps. Stopping the constant inner chatter might sound impossible, but it's more achievable than you think. Here's how you can begin. Become the observer. Start by noticing your thoughts without judgment. Imagine your mind is a radio, and you're just listening to the stations it tunes into. This creates a space between you and your thoughts. Redirect your focus. When you catch yourself caught in a loop of self-talk, gently redirect your attention to something tangible, like your breath or the sensation of your feet on the ground. Practice gratitude. Gratitude shifts your focus from what's wrong to what's right. Each time your mind spirals into negativity, think of one thing you're grateful for. Use affirmations. Replace negative self-talk with empowering affirmations like, "I am enough," or "I am at peace." Over time, this rewires your brain to think more positively. Create silent moments. Dedicate a few minutes each day to silence. Whether it's sitting quietly, meditating, or just being present, these moments help you reconnect with the stillness within. Each of these steps might seem small, but collectively, they have the power to transform how you experience your inner world. 6. The trap of overthinking. It's a habit many of us know all too well, overthinking. You replay the same scenarios in your mind, analyzing them from every possible angle, as though doing so will magically produce an answer. But here's the hard truth. Overthinking doesn't solve problems, it magnifies them. When you're caught in this mental loop, your brain becomes like a hamster on a wheel, running endlessly without making progress. The more you think, the more tangled your thoughts become, leading to frustration, stress, and even paralysis. What you need to realize is that clarity doesn't come from thinking harder, it comes from stepping back. Imagine trying to see your reflection in a rippling pond. The harder you stare, the blurrier it becomes. But if you simply pause and let the water settle, the image becomes crystal clear. That's the power of quieting the mind. When you stop over-analyzing, you create space for true insight to emerge. Overthinking is the mind's way of tricking you into believing you're being productive. But in reality, it's a smokescreen that blocks you from seeing the bigger picture. The next time you feel the urge to overthink, pause. Ask yourself, is this helping me, or is it holding me back? The answer may surprise you. 7. The voice in your head isn't you. Have you ever stopped to question where the voice in your head comes from? It narrates your life, comments on everything, and even criticizes you relentlessly. But here's the thing. That voice isn't you. It's a product of your conditioning, an accumulation of past experiences, societal expectations, and inherited beliefs. Think about it. If you were truly that voice, then who is the one listening? This simple yet profound question reveals the truth. There's a deeper part of you beyond the chatter, a silent observer that is free from judgment, free from fear and free from limitations. The voice in your head often pretends to be helpful, but it's like a backseat driver constantly giving you unwanted directions. It thrives on keeping you busy with worries, doubts, and imagined scenarios. But once you realize that you are not that voice, you reclaim your power. You no longer have to believe every thought that crosses your mind. Instead, you can choose which ones deserve your attention and which ones you can simply let go. This shift in perspective changes everything. When you stop identifying with the voice in your head, you begin to experience life as it truly is, without filters, without noise, and without unnecessary mental clutter. 8. Silence as a source of strength. We live in a world that celebrates noise. From constant notifications to endless streams of content, silence has become almost foreign to us. Yet silence is where true strength lies. When you embrace silence, you discover an inner stillness that no external chaos can disturb. This silence is not emptiness, it's fullness. It's the space where creativity, intuition, and wisdom arise. It's in silence that some of the greatest minds in history found their breakthroughs. Albert Einstein once said that his best ideas came to him in moments of quiet reflection, not during periods of intense thinking. Silence is where you connect with your authentic self, the part of you that exists beyond roles, titles, and expectations. In silence, you don't have to prove anything or be anyone. You simply are. And in that state of being, you access a power that is unshakable. Cultivating silence doesn't mean you have to meditate for hours a day. It can be as simple as taking a few moments to breathe deeply, stepping away from your phone, or sitting in nature. These small practices of silence can have a profound impact on your life, allowing you to approach challenges with clarity and resilience. 9. Breaking free from mental stories. Your mind loves to tell stories about who you are, what you can or cannot do, and how the world works. These stories often feel so real that you accept them without question. But have you ever stopped to ask yourself, are these stories true? The mind has a way of taking past experiences and weaving them into narratives that define your identity. For example, if you failed at something once, your mind might tell you that you're not good enough or that you're destined to fail again. But these are just stories, not facts. Breaking free from these mental stories begins with awareness. When a limiting thought arises, pause and question it. Ask yourself, is this thought serving me? Is it based on truth, or is it rooted in fear? More often than not, you'll find that the stories your mind tells are nothing more than illusions. When you stop buying into these stories, you create room for new possibilities. You realize that you are not defined by your past, your mistakes, or even your successes. You are something far greater, an infinite being capable of growth, change, and transformation. 10. The freedom of letting go. Letting go is one of the hardest yet most liberating things you can do. We cling to our thoughts, our identities, and our beliefs because they give us a sense of security. But this clinging also creates suffering. Imagine holding onto a rope so tightly that it burns your hands. The tighter you grip, the more pain you feel. But the moment you let go, the pain disappears. Letting go doesn't mean giving up or being passive. It means releasing what no longer serves you. It means trusting that you don't have to control everything for things to work out. When you let go of your need to overthink, to be right, or to hold on to old stories, you free yourself from unnecessary burdens. You begin to experience life as it unfolds, moment by moment, without judgment or resistance. This freedom of letting go is not something that happens overnight. It's a practice, a daily commitment to choosing peace over chaos, presence over worry, and trust over fear. And the more you let go, the more you'll find that life has a way of working out in ways you never could have imagined. Thanks for watching. If this resonated, like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs this. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. See you in the next one.